Bambini time.
It's the Bambini Show, your #1 children's TV show in Ghana. My name is Helena Quist and I'm here with
Rudy Safako Amazado. You can call me Rudy, and that's so lovely.
Wonderful. Yes, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel, Bambini Show. Like and comment. Follow us on all our social media platforms. We're on Instagram, Bambini Show, Twitter, Bambini Show, Facebook, Bambini Show. So, Rudy, what are we doing today?
Wow. Good news for us today. We are not going to do the word play for today. We have our lovely sister handling that. So please don't go anywhere. Stay tuned and let's play with some words and then follow suit on whatever they are going to be doing for today. And please be reminded that we have to take the precautions seriously by washing our hands regularly with soap under running water and by sanitizing it anytime you're on the go. Don't forget to use your facial nose masks when we are out there doing your own. So we are going to take one of our precautions we do here every day. This is my favorite thing to do right here in the studios. So please, at home, take your sanitizer and let's do this together. Some drops for Helena, some drops for me. So sanitize with us together at home. Yes, rub carefully and gently. Wow, that's awesome. So what do you say? Stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Bambini time.
Hello Bambini kids, welcome to another edition of the Bambini TV. Today we are going to be doing wordplay and I'm going to be your host. I go by the name Vera Otio Echampon. I'm here with my brothers and sisters. Please, what's your name and which school are you from?
I am Imelda Nana Eka Danswabidiakon with my brother Brian Bidiakon. We attend school at Heritage Academy, opposite OA Travel and Tours, Winners Chapel, Ghana.
Okay, so Imelda and Brian, today we are going to be doing wordplay. So I'm going to give you words and you're supposed to form 3 words out of the words I'll be giving you. And you, Brian, you're supposed to form words with the ending IN, LY, and TH. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you very, very sure?
Yes.
Okay, so Bambini kids, get your partner, book and a pen, and let's go. Wow, she did very great. So from beautiful, we got flu, file, and bet. Dangerous, we got danger, range, orange. Recoveries, we got over, cover, and right. So now she's going to give me some words. I'm going to do sing. So let's go, please. So Imelda also gave me these words: stain, flavor, and performance. Out of stain, sustained, I got stain and entain. Out of flavor, I got flu and fur. Out of performance, I got man, form, and farmer. We are moving on to Brian. So Brian, I'm going to give you words. You're supposed to form words with the ending IN, TH, and LY. Will you be able to do it? Are you very sure?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get. So wow, that was a good job done. Under TH we have truth, growth, and mouth. Under LY we have completely, lastly, and reply. Under IN we have within, stain, and train. Thank you very much for joining us. I was your host Vera Otio Echampon with Brian and Imelda. Until next time, please do the assignments and send it to the numbers below on your screen. Thank you very much. Until next time, bye.
Bambini time.
So our digital classroom, I love this part so much. This is where we bring your classroom live to you on TV. You don't have to pay for anything. just sit down and follow what the teacher is teaching today. Yes, we have science, as you did mention. I love science a lot, and that is the topic for today.
Infectious diseases.
Wow.
So you have to be ready to obtain good knowledge from Sir. So we'll be right back again.
Bambini time.
Hello students, once again this is Uncle Ernest, and today I'll be taking you for science. Okay, now I'm from Talented Royals International School. That's where I work or I teach. So today's lesson on science is going to be on infectious diseases. Infectious diseases. COVID-19 is an infectious disease, and that is why I bring you this particular lesson. Now, so before we do anything, as usual, as we are advised by all our health experts, I have to go through the health protocols in order to keep safe and prevent COVID-19 from infecting me. So I expect you to do the same before you even touch anything or write with anything. Okay, so I have my hand sanitizer here. So I'll quickly sanitize my hands before I even touch anything, because as you know, I'm going to touch the board, the marker, and the duster, so I need to do that. Now let's get back to business. Now we have so many diseases in our world today, and some of these diseases are communicable, some are not communicable. As time goes on, you get to know what this means. But what I mean is that some of these diseases can be passed on from persons to persons. Others cannot also be passed on from persons to person. Now, an example is COVID-19. We know that if someone, even in your house, is infected with COVID-19, you are likely to also get infected or also infect other people. Now, but a disease like heart attack or let's say diabetes is not infectious, okay? So if I have diabetes, I'm not likely to infect you with diabetes. So that is the difference. Now, we are coming to dwell on infectious diseases. Diseases that can infect or be passed on from person to person. They are the diseases we call communicable. And as time goes on, you get to know more terms under this. All right. Now, I'll try as much as possible to show you pictures as I take you through some of the key areas under this topic. Now, this is a JHS topic, so I expect that all those in JHS 3 who are preparing to go and write their BEC take this seriously. We are in this era, and likely you may have some questions on it, and I expect you to learn this extensively. Now, before I start, I'll take you through the learning objectives today. Now, these are the things I expect you to have learned after this lesson. Mind you, I'll come back and ask you if you were able to get anything as per the lesson objectives here. All right, so we are supposed to be able to define a disease. Okay, you should be able to define a disease after this lesson. You should also be able to identify and explain key terms under infectious diseases. You are going to see so many terms. Now, you should also be able to identify the causes of diseases. In fact, some of these I'm even going to give you as an assignment for you to do. Tell me the other causes of diseases apart from the ones I'm going to give you. Now, we will also look at microorganisms. Okay, what are microorganisms? They are these organisms troubling us in our world. We'll look at them now, and then we should be able to classify or identify the groups of microorganisms, the main groups of microorganisms. All right, so let's set the ball rolling. Now, even before we start, I'd like you to look at some of these organisms that cause or that give us infectious diseases, because we said that infectious diseases are diseases caused by pathogenic microorganisms. Okay, now we will look at, under the terms of some of the key terms under this topic, we will look at what a pathogen is. for you to be able to understand what we mean by pathogenic microorganisms. Now, but in a nutshell, pathogenic microorganisms are these bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, worms, rickettsia, and then other organisms that we can't see with our naked eye, except under the view of an electronic microscope or a microscope. Okay, so we'll look at some of these organisms. Now, one of them is bacteria. So as you see in your pictures or on your screen, that is an example of a bacteria. Now, study it carefully. In our subsequent lessons, we'll take a close look at them. We'll study some of their features, and then we'll write down a few notes on them. So you see some kind of, let me say, parts around them. You see some features around them. Now, I will tell you what all of them mean and what they use them to do. Now, the next one is a virus. And the novel coronavirus is the virus that is causing COVID-19. That is the coronavirus disease 2019. Now, this is an example of a virus. I'm not saying this is coronavirus, but this is an example of a virus. This is how they look. I'll tell you how their features are, and then we'll also study other characteristics they also possess. Now, protozoa are of different kinds, okay? Now, we'll look at them in details. Now, they are also microorganisms that cause infectious diseases. Now, we have rickettsia now. Rickettsia usually causes diseases in livestock. And what I mean by livestock is diseases usually found in farm animals, okay? Now, and then we have worms. Worms are quite common. Now, some of them are, or let me say, some of them can be seen. Some of them are quite big enough to be seen by the naked eye. Some of them too, or most of them too, cannot be seen by the naked eye. And that is why they are classified under microorganisms. All right. So if you're okay and the pictures are in mind now, let's look at key terms under infectious diseases. Now, as we look at the term, try and study the picture below it or the picture by it so that you'll be able to familiarize yourself with some of these things. It's very, very important. Now, the first term we want to look at is that what at all is a disease? What is a disease? Okay. Now, I know you may have some ideas, but in blunt terms, a disease is any condition or disorder that negatively interferes with the normal functioning of your body. Okay? Any disorder. When we say a disorder, it means that something that is not in order. Now, that negatively or that affects the normal functioning of your body. So you all know how your body functions normal. When you wake up every day, you are okay, but then suddenly you begin to cough, you begin to sneeze unusually, you begin to have some stomach upset and all that. It's an indication of the presence of a disease. So you see in the picture, you see the internal structure of the upper part of a human body, and you realize that the lungs are quite infected, and the person might be having some challenges with his or her respiratory system, and that is a disease. Now, we'll look at another term. If you're okay with this, we'll look at another one. Now, which is pathogens. Now, when we began, we said that infectious diseases are diseases caused by pathogenic microorganisms. And these diseases can be transmitted from one person to the other or one organism to the other. Now, what are these pathogens that cause the infectious diseases? Or what at all is a pathogen? Now, a pathogen is a disease-causing organism. Okay? A pathogen is a disease-causing organism. Now, the reason why we are looking at this as disease-causing is that not all organisms cause diseases. Okay? Or let me say, not all microorganisms cause diseases. In fact, your bacteria and viruses and the other organisms that we tag them with diseases all the time, not all of them cause diseases. Some of them are actually good for us. Now, an example, bacteria, we find a lot of them in our mouths, okay? And most of them even secrete enzymes that act on food to help break down the food, to enable us digest the food and then obtain some nutrition out of it. So some of them are good, but the ones that are harmful, the bad ones, are the ones we call pathogens. I hope you get me. The bad ones that give us or cause diseases to our bodies is what we refer to as pathogens. So we know examples of them already. The bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa. Those that are amongst them that cause diseases are the ones we call pathogens. All right, so we'll look at our next key term, symptoms. Symptoms. Now, these are signs of the presence of a disease, okay? If you have a disease, if an organism is having a negative, let's say, effect on any organ or system of your body, what will show that you have a disease? Now, so the coughing, let's say COVID-19, the coughing, the sneezing, the headaches, and the fever you have, all of them tell that you have a particular or this particular disease. All those signs are what we refer to as symptoms. Okay, so they actually show us or detect how or the presence of diseases. Let's look at our next one, which is incubation period. This is also a key term under infectious diseases, especially in this era of COVID-19. I'm sure you are coming or you are hearing most of these terms. Now, incubation period actually is not anything so strange, but it is actually the period, okay, the period between the entry of a pathogen into your body and then the start of a disease. You see, when the pathogen enters your body, it is going to attack particular organs, or let's say it is going to cause diseases to you. But then it is not the day, the time, the minute that the pathogen enters your body that the disease is shown or begins to occur. Now, there is usually a period, okay, and that period differs from pathogen to pathogen, okay. Now, for example, in COVID-19, we are hearing that the incubation period for the coronavirus disease is 14 days. 14 days, okay. So that 14 days period, the virus enters. The virus enters. And then symptoms begin to show. Okay, so when the virus enters your body, from the first day, second day, up to the 14th day, you must show symptoms, okay? Or you should show some symptoms. Some of these symptoms are the coughing, the sneezing, the fever, the headache, and then the other ones that our health personnel are educating us about. So from the start to the beginning of showing symptoms is what we call incubation period. It doesn't mean that in all infectious diseases or all viruses or all bacteria or microorganisms have an incubation period of 14 days. No, the incubation period depends on the particular microorganism. All right. So if we're okay with that one, then we'll look at another one we call antibodies. Antibodies. Very, very important to also note. Now, the microorganism has infected or entered into the body of the organism. And in science, when we refer to organism, we are looking at plants and animals, okay? And in science, as I always tell my students, even though some of them want to argue with me, human beings are also classified as animals, okay? We are actually animals. So now, when the organism or microorganism or pathogen enters your body, now your body naturally has defense against them. Okay. Now, nature has, in its own way, created a means to be able to let or enable your body fight these organisms and diseases that your bodies begin to show. Okay. Now, these disease fighting substances that are produced by your body, especially your white blood cells, are what we call the antibodies. Okay. So when the viruses, the bacteria, protozoa get inside your body, there will be defense against them. Now, you only begin to show symptoms of a disease when, unfortunately, the microorganisms that entered your body were able to fight and overcome your antibodies. That is when you begin to show symptoms. And then it means that your immune system is going to get weaker and you are going to suffer a disease. But if your immune system is stronger and it is able to fight the organisms that enter your body, then I'm telling you, you are not even going to show any symptom of the disease, even though you may have the microorganism in your body. All right. So if we're okay with antibodies, then we'll move on to another one, very important, immunity. Immunity. So with our knowledge on antibodies, now immunity becomes simple. This is the body's natural ability to resist infection. Okay. Now this comprises of your antibodies and other things that makes your body immune, okay, or defensible against certain microorganisms that infect your body. In actual fact, every day we inhale, take in a lot of these organisms, but most of them are fought and conquered by our immune system, and that is why we don't fall sick all the time. But it doesn't mean that we don't get infections in our lives. We get them, but our immune system is able to fight the infections. Okay, so you have a picture there, and it tells about what the body builds up by our way of life, exercising, eating good food and all that, drinking water enough. Now, these are the things that enable you to have rich, strong, white blood cells and other substances in your body or other molecules in your body that enable your system to be able to fight against diseases. That's what we call immunity. Now, so the immune system is the body's structure or natural arrangement to fight diseases. Okay? All right. So we have looked at that already. So we'll quickly move on. Now, the next one is vaccine. So as you see in the picture, a young girl, a little girl is being injected with something. Okay? Now, in the wake of coronavirus disease, we are hearing that scientists are trying hard to get a vaccine for us to be able to prevent ourselves from getting diseases when we even get the infection of coronavirus. Now, these vaccines are actually biological substances that contain dead or weakened pathogens. Now, take note of that. So, when you take a vaccine, okay, when you take a vaccine, you have actually taken a bacteria, a virus, a microorganism into your body, okay? Now, but you have taken a weakened or dead version of this microorganism. So, if by God's grace, scientists are able to get us a vaccine for COVID-19, then it actually means that the coronavirus, okay, the virus itself would have been weakened or killed in such a way that it's injected into the body. Now, when it is injected into your body, naturally, because it is weakened or dead, your body will recognize it as the actual virus and then produce antibodies ready to fight it. Okay, so it's a system to activate your immune system to be able to produce antibodies ready to fight the actual virus when it enters your body. Because this is weakened or dead, when you take it, it will not cause you or give you any disease, okay? But then it is going to trigger your antibodies to be active so that in case you get the actual virus, which is not weakened or dead, your antibodies are already ready and they will just extinguish it and then fight it. And that virus will be rendered powerless and useless in your body. So you may have the virus, but it will not do anything to you. That is what a vaccine does. Okay, so you see the little girls are taking the vaccine. We'll look at another one. The process of putting the vaccine into your body to help your immune system to produce antibodies to fight diseases is what we call vaccination. Okay, vaccination. So animals are vaccinated, humans are vaccinated, and we have so many forms of vaccination. All right, so these are some of the key terms under infectious diseases. And I pray and hope that you take good note of them so that you can even educate your parents when they want to find out a few answers to certain things, especially in these particular times. Okay. All right. So before I wrap up our lesson for today, we'll quickly glance through the causes of diseases. Now, I will expect you to send me some more causes of diseases through a number I'm going to give you very soon. Now, diseases are mainly caused by the following. One, we have pathogenic microorganisms. And we all know by now what pathogens are. And some diseases that can be caused by microorganisms are tuberculosis, malaria, COVID-19, cholera, and a whole lot of others. Okay? Now, another means of getting a disease is malnutrition. Malnutrition. That is if you take in less nutrients into your body. That is when the food you eat is not adequate of the proper nutrients you need. Now, you may suffer from diseases such as kwashiorkor, beriberi, rickets, and a whole lot of others. Now, another means by which diseases are caused are also metabolic or hormonal imbalances. And a typical example is diabetes. Okay, diabetes is caused by hormonal imbalances. For example, there is a hormone in the body called insulin. And when insulin is not able to attain its stability to regulate sugar in the body, you begin to have a disease we call diabetes. So you see them on your screen, and I will expect you to go through them. Some of them are caused by genetic or heredity, like the sickle cell anemia. You can get it from your parents because of their genotypes and all that. Now, chemical causes such as food poisoning and drug abuse. You can have liver problems when you take too much alcohol. That is a chemical cause. Now, physical causes such as accidents that can let you have burns, cuts, and a whole lot of other things. And then we have brain disorders, which includes depression and then schizophrenia. In subsequent lessons, we may have time to discuss all of these. But in the meantime, I would like you to have an assignment. And yes, your assignment is here. I'll not leave without an assignment. It's very, very important. Now, so you send your answers to the number below. Now, you have 0242845309. That's my personal WhatsApp line. Send it to that line, and then I'll try as much as possible to go through them. And then subsequently, when we meet again, we'll try to address some of your challenges on the board, and then we'll take it from there. Now, once again, my name is Ernest, Sir Ernest or Uncle Ernest. Now, I am from Talented Royals International School, and I wish you all the best. But even before I go, like I told you, I have to also sanitize my hands and make sure I'm safe, as you also keep safe at home. All right. May God bless you and have a good day. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
As you all know, we all end with dance. And today I've been pan logo
I love God.
Family is a dance that is originated from the people of the Greater Accra region. To do this, but I'm still going to do it. Our beautiful smile, beautiful ladies, we are going to sign up by saying
Bye.
Bambini